Good evening, everyone. It's your girl, Miss Analytical. I'm coming to you straight out of NYC on this Tuesday evening, you could say, coming in tonight. And it was hot today, and I didn't even go outside. So for all the people that did go outside today in New York City, I can imagine how you felt. But tomorrow is going to be only 65 degrees. Yeah. Yeah, 65 degrees. So this commentary, I'm going to say, I want to put the photo of the mugshot of the little boy, but because of videos are being pulled down, they're not even trying to monetize certain videos or giving strikes. I'm just going to show a distant photo of this child. So this is the story of little 10-year-old Daniel Issac Marquez, who threatened to do the unthinkable at his school. So this is an article from the New York Post, and it reads, Florida authorities Monday released the mugshot and arrest footage of a 10-year-old boy accused of threatening to commit violence up at his school, with the local sheriff calling the move just deserts for a suspected criminal. I did a campaign, fake threat, real consequence. Lee County Sheriff Carmine Marceno told W Radio in Columbia. While I understand the boy is 10 years old, his brain's not fully developed. He's a juvenile. I have to tell you, when a 10-year-old presses a trigger, the aftermath is the same, regardless of the age. The sheriff's office posted a video to Facebook showing Daniel Issac Marquez, a fifth grader at Patriot Elementary School in Cape Coral, being arrested Saturday for the alleged text message threat, which was forwarded to deputies by a tipster May 28. Daniel was shown being led off with his hands cuffed behind his back while dressed in blue Crocs and a camouflage hooded zip-up sweatshirt and matching shorts. Marceno spoke about the baby-faced suspect to W Radio, saying Daniel told a friend in a text message about wads of cash and to get ready for him to carry out the mass shooting. I scammed my friend, the boy allegedly wrote in the text, which included a Google imagery of money, according to an arrest report. Daniel then allegedly shared an image of 4 assault rifles that he said he bought and told his buddy to get ready for Water Day, in quotations, referencing a recent school-sponsored event in which students participated in water activities. We don't wait 1 second, Marceno said, of looking into the boy's threat. We investigate every threat as if it's real. We have zero tolerance, he said. Our children are going to be safe no matter what. So what we need to do is, I beg the parents to sit with your children. We need to do everything we can as a team to prevent these types of issues and not ignore the red flags. The boy was charged as a juvenile with making a written threat to conduct a mass shooting, Marceno said. Later in the interview, Marceno spelled out his department's response to a would-be school shooter. You don't get to come into one of my schools in my county and present deadly force, Marceno said, because we meet deadly force with deadly force. Without 1 second, without hesitation, if you think you're going to come and kill a child and teacher or a faculty member, think again. We will you immediately. The pint-sized perp was arrested 1 day before Florida man Corey Anderson, 18, was busted Sunday at his home in Lutz after making an online threat while posting photos of himself and what appeared to be a rifle, handgun, and tactical-style vest, according to the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office. The chilling photo was accompanied by a caption that read, Hey Siri, directions to the nearest school, authorities said. Investigators later determined the handgun and rifle in Anderson's photo were airsoft guns, which shoot pellets rather than bullets. The twin threats in Florida came just days after the gunmen stormed into Robb Elementary School in Uvalde, Texas, with a pair of AR-15 style rifles and killed 19 fourth graders and 2 teachers on Tuesday. The massacre was the deadliest school shooting since 26 people, including 20 students, were killed at Sandy Hook Elementary School in Connecticut in December 2012. So, there's a lot of things to basically discuss in this article. And the first thing I'm going to point out is Hillsborough County is very close and dear to me because that's where my family settled and lived in when they immigrated from Cuba. That's on my father's mother's side of the family. So this may not be in Tampa per se, but the most populous city in the county is Tampa. And Tampa has been historically predominantly Latino, going as far back as the early 1800s. So I want to just say that. So to really, a lot of people were saying that he was a white boy, and he's not white. He's Latino, and he looks more Cuban to me. He could be Mexican, but I would say he's more Cuban. But I'm not going to, give him excuses for what he did, because what he did was wrong. Right is right and wrong is wrong. And this 10-year-old, yes, his brain isn't fully developed, and he's a juvenile. But I have to commend the county sheriff, because the county sheriff basically did not play any games, and he didn't take any hesitations when this situation happened. Okay? Now, what I want to also say too is that these kids are being impressed by these weapons because they're seeing this online. They're not really seeing this on TV, because TV, believe it or not, is not as violent as it was when my generation was coming up. When my generation was coming up, there was a lot of violence on TV, believe it or not, coming up in the 90s. But now you see more TV shows dealing with romance, sexuality issues, or topics that deal with race, ethnicity. It's more political, but it's not really violence. The violence you see is online, social media, all these underground websites. What the little boy did was wrong, and he doesn't need to go to school. He needs to be homeschooled. But this behavior and way of thinking has to be exercised out of these kids' minds. And the only way that you're going to do it is you have to monitor what's on social media in terms of having the kids being able to access it. But more importantly, you have to stop the sale of these type of weapons. And I'm going to say it. Who needs an AR-15 to basically protect your home? Now, why these weapons are being promoted is because of political discussions that's been going on for the past 15 years. So you have the booming business of rifle sales. And these are not the rifles that you saw in the 40s and 50s all the way up until the 1980s. These are military style weapons, okay? And the reason why they have become popular to the public is because you have groups of people online that discuss the takeover of the land by the government. And I'm not just talking about the U.S. government. I'm speaking of the government in terms of the global intergovernment aspect. So there are websites that discuss these things. So this is one of the things that's part of prepping, preparing to protect yourself, not just with food, living off the grid, but also having weapons just in case they try to, the powers that be, try to come for you. So this is why AR-15s are very popular, and people have so much access to them, and they're buying them up because you have families that have 3 and 4 AR-15s. I've done my research. This is not just one. It's 3 and 4 because they're preparing to basically protect their land and to protect their home. So this trickles down to the kids seeing and hearing this. So it's okay, so mom and dad is going to get an AR-15 to protect themselves. Well, it's a fancy gun. And boys especially they are very intrigued with weapons anyway. Because boys innately have that mindset to want to go to war. Even when they're like kids, it's just something in them. So it's like, okay, well, I want to, play, cops and robbers. I want to play, war. I want to play G.I. Joe. I want to play, like villains and heroes, like a superhero type of game. And I need to like have weapons to do it. So these kids want to act out what they see the adults do. And they're impressionable. And I'm going to say this. I'm a 2A person. I want to keep it real. But I think that we have gone to the extreme when it comes to the weapons we use to protect us. Okay? I come from a family where we've had, weapons. We've had guns. But we didn't have military style weapons. We just had guns, like 2A, the right to bear arms. But we wasn't thinking of military style defense. We was just thinking of, hey, particularly as women, we're coming home late at night or we're leaving work early in the morning to basically take the train. Hey, if somebody tries to assault me, it is going to happen. It's a way of protection. It's not, hey, I'm protecting myself with this AR-15, this, other high-tech weapon because they going to try to come for us and they got their big weapons and I'm going to have my big weapons. No, it's not that. But what I want to leave on this note is Daniel Issac Marquez, he's just one of them that got caught. Think of all the other little kids that are out there who might be younger than him that's thinking the same thing, or if not worse. You had a sheriff that acted upon a threat and did something and basically stopped it from even attempting to happen, okay? Let alone happen. Y'all need to keep this sheriff in your town. Because this is what you do. You stop stuff like this from occurring. Now, Daniel Marquez is going to get the therapy. He's going to get psychotherapy. But think about the others who won't get that. Who's going to fall in the cracks. And think about the parents that those kids have that's encouraging this. Because they believe in what they read and see on the internet. And it's the culture wars that's coming to its head. And I know a lot of people may agree with me. And I know a lot of people may disagree with me. Particularly with the whole idea of militia weapons. But this is something that we have to really discuss and speak about, because in this month alone, we've lost considerably about 31 people, over 30 people to this in Buffalo and in Uvalde, Texas, children, because of things of this nature. This has been going on with these weapons going back to 2007, 2008, okay? But it's just now coming to the first surface. And the bill for the domestic terrorist bill didn't get passed. And I'm going to talk about that this week, because I think that's something that really needs to be spoken about. Because I know exactly why it didn't get passed. I could tell you just in one reason why. Because they wanted to keep the weapons. That's all. And I know this live stream is long. This commentary is long. And it's just something that I'm just, greatly concerned for. Because I travel in the public day to day when I'm going outside. My job is basically working with the public. And even though I'm taking time off from work, What if somebody was to come in there with those type of weapons, And in New York, the gun laws don't allow you to open carry in New York City. But what if somebody comes in there and basically is like, I don't care because I found a zip code and I'm going to do this and that to people. That's why we got to stop this from getting worse. And all law enforcement needs to act upon any potential threat, whether it's in a school, whether it's in a store, whether it's in a university, whether it's in any public place, churches, banks, healthcare centers, courts, libraries, parks, amusement parks, resorts. Threats need to be taken serious. And we need to have people in law enforcement who are going to be brave enough to stop it and prevent it from happening. And that's my take on the situation. Thank you for listening. I know this commentary was long, not intended to be, but I just had to talk about this. So thank you for listening and have a good night. Take care.